When the big names come to Christchurch, they speak to Chris Lynch.
He is a larger-than-life performer. He's performed for decades, but now Steven Tyler's songwriting skills are getting all the deserved attention. The Aerosmith veteran will be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in June. He is coming to New Zealand for one night only in Dunedin, and he is on the phone and joins me now. Good morning, Steven.
Good morning, Chris. What are you doing up so early?
Well, that's the life of a talkback host, I'm telling you. First of all...
And a rock star, darling.
Well... Congratulations on being inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Is that a big deal for you, Stephen?
A big deal. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was, big enough. We thought we'd climb that mountain, and we finally arrived. But as you know, you never arrive anywhere. But songwriting is what we got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for. So it's kind of like the derivation of. I looked at Joe and I thought, for all that we've done, this is the coup de grace. This is the final. To be, I guess, in 5 words or less, to be in with Paul McCartney and Sting and all these wonderful people, Annie Lennox, and it's just over the top for us to think that in the same sentence, our band that we started some 40 years ago is murmured. And about that, we're eternally grateful. And we get to go there and meet Paul again and rub noses with Annie and talk with those folks and say, hey, it's just an honor to be honored.
Interesting you say you've been around for 40 years, the band that is. Does it feel like 40 years?
No. I feel like I'm a time traveler sometimes. It doesn't feel like, I don't know why, but I don't feel time. I'm one of those guys that kind of never got off the playground. I met Joe and the guys on the playground, and we played clubs, and we play, and so it's a playground of life, and it's had its ups and downs and births and deaths, but for all intents and purposes, we get to play. That's what we do for a living, and so time kind of stands still. It doesn't seem as long, and holy shit, Joe, can you believe we've been in this band for 40 years? Yeah, when the press writes about it, I think, no shit, wow. But all in all, it doesn't. We lop from one album to the next and one birth to the next, and it's just kind of... It's strange. I can't figure it out yet why I don't feel it, but I don't.
Well, you've climbed many mountains in your illustrious career, and perhaps the most recent one was a volcano in Hawaii to celebrate your 65th birthday. What an amazing thing to do, because, of course, you live there, don't you?
I do live there, and I like to take time out to, celebrate the day my mom had me and watch the sun come up. And I've got a lot of beautiful island friends in Maui that know about the mana, and ancestors and chanting, and it's what I do for a living. I love to sing, and I love to surround myself by people that do that sort of thing. So it just allows me to be in the moment, which, as you know, living on the tail of a comet called Aerosmith.
Is Maui what you'd call home, Stephen?
It is now, because I love the sun, and I live wherever my kids are. My daughter Chelsea lives in L.A. Mia lives in New York, and Liv lives wherever the next movie is. And Taj, my son, lives at home, and he's a working man.
What, so he's not living the same rock and roll lifestyle as his dad or his sister?
No. He builds a house with my brother-in-law.
Well, that's rock and roll enough. You must be proud of your kids.
I am very. I just had them all over Christmas to the house in Maui, and, we're sitting there, and they're making me eggs in the morning, and we're all laughing to the same sick jokes, and, you get that moment where it's like, oh, my God, I created these people out of love, and here they are. Thank you, God, for the gift.
I was interested, Stephen, that you pushed through a law regarding celebrity privacy. Why did you feel the need to go that far? I mean, I know in America, the paparazzi are just evil. We don't have that same level of aggressiveness in New Zealand.
They are an evil bunch, because all they care about is stealing a bunch of stuff out of your garage and then selling it right down the street in front of you. They take a picture of you, and then they sell it to the newspapers. And it's all right to do that as it was 20 years, 30 years ago, but now they've all turned into bounty hunters where they want Sarah McLachlan's dress or up Charlize Theron's dress. They want to get a picture of Liv brushing her teeth in my house, and then it's just total invasion of privacy, whereas in L.A. it's against the law, but in Maui it's not. So I catch them outside my house looking in the windows, and I just want to punch a hole in their tires, but of course that's illegal. They're allowed to shoot my kids undressing and use it in some crazy newspaper in Indonesia, but I'm not allowed to put a nail in their tires.
Why don't you just get out a crate of eggs and throw some eggs at their face?
You know I can. I can do that.
I think you should. You were a judge on American Idol. I mean, you must be patting yourself on the back now for leaving the show, considering the show's had the worst ratings ever since it began. Do you think people are just getting bored of talent shows now?
No, it's twofold. I think there are so many shows now like it.
Yeah.
It was the first of its kind, and it was the biggest show on TV, for 11 years, 12 years now. So it has already stood the test of time. So it gets the bravo for that, But, I think J-Lo and I brought, it was real. I think J-Lo's a little bit more real than some of the people on there now. I think Randy is still with him, and I think I love his energy, and I miss mine. I think that the directors and the producers are going for more drama. And I'm not going to tell some kid she can't sing, because I don't want to be the one that makes her not sing to her daughter or son, while she's bringing them up. It's for the sake of television, to demean someone for the sake of television. But I'll tell you what, for all that we didn't do, or should have done, we found some great talent.
Oh, you did, and that's great. Listen, I know you've got to go soon, but a couple of quotes I want to quote you on here. Recently you said you would take a pay cut to play with AC/DC, and I couldn't decide if you were taking the mickey or if you were being quite serious about that.
Oh, God. I love that band. I love them so much. They're one of my favorite bands when people ask, and I would just love to go on tour with them, whether we, piggybacked or not. I mean, they're so big, but I grew up in an era where you had 2 or 3 great bands. It wasn't every band trying to suck a market dry. And I just told the guys in my band that that's my bucket list. I would do any, I love them so much, and their music, forget about it. I love the Stones. I love Rihanna and Pink.
Oh, I love Rihanna.
And Pink is my favorite. Listen to her new album.
But you were talking about some artists sucking the market dry. Are you talking about some of the more manufactured artists that seem to come and go with the blink of an eyelid?
Well, yeah, and you can tell their managers put them up to it. They're flash in the pan, and the tickets are like, $200 a ticket. So I see nothing wrong with hitting while the fire's hot. But I come from the old days where it's, come on, please us, man. Bring it on. And I think sometimes it should be done with more than one band. That's all. I don't really care about money anymore. Since the internet's come along, who makes money? Everybody's got you for free anyway. So I just want to throw the best show on the planet.
Well, I'm quite happy that Aerosmith's coming, so I can live with that. Of course, you are coming to Dunedin in a couple of weeks' time here in New Zealand. Have you been to New Zealand before?
Never. Only in my heart.
So you must be looking forward to it. Have you got an impression of what New Zealand is going to be like when you fly here?
Absolutely not, except, only through the eyes of Lord of the Rings. And what Liv's told me, because she obviously was in the first version. But no, I've got a Maori chief friend that lives on Maui, and he's told me a whole lot, and I'm just looking forward to coming and rubbing noses with the locals.
Well, you will be performing at a beautiful stadium, so I wish you all the very best. It is an absolute pleasure, and look forward to seeing your concert in Dunedin.
I'll see you at the Hill, my brother.
Canterbury Mornings with Chris Lynch on Newstalk ZB.